What's going on, everybody? So, I'm back for doing more and more videos for 2026, even though it's like 2 days away. So, the very first and last reaction videos we're gonna be reacting to, it is the brony who married the Twilight Sparkle plushie. What the hell? Even though, anyways, the reason I gotta be chewing is because I got gum, and it's a Grenades gum that reduces mucus because I've been, like, lingling and clearing my throat a lot. So, that's why. So, without further ado, guys, let's get this done.
Relationships are complicated. Trying to understand another human being, trying to keep up with emotions, expectations, arguments, breakups, it has always been complicated. But in the last decade
I've been through this, guys. I've been through this.
or so, things somehow manage to get even worse. People don't talk as much, they don't meet as much, and male loneliness has become one of the biggest problems out there. Because now, everything is just one click away. Tinder, where relationships feel like a slot machine, and OnlyFans, where affection basically became a subscription service, and we all know it's not even real affection. These apps trick people into thinking they are getting intimacy when really they are just getting the illusion of it. And the more they rely on it, the more disconnected they become from real human connection. You've got millions of guys who spend most of their lives locked inside their rooms, barely speaking to anyone outside of Discord calls. And over time, that kind of isolation messes with your brain. When you don't have real relationships, when you don't have support, when you don't have anyone to actually rely on, you start looking for comfort in other places. For some it's a hobby, for others it's video games, and surprisingly, for a lot of people it's fictional characters. And that's because fictional characters don't judge you. They don't abandon you, they don't argue with you. They are perfect. They exist exactly how you want them to. Mentally struggling and disconnected from reality, and combine that with a deep obsession over a character, that person can convince themselves that this character, something that isn't physical or even real, somehow loves them back. That's when things go from kinda sad to unhealthy, and sometimes it crosses into something.
What the fuck? Bro, do you guys see that? It's a good thing it's censored for YouTube, or CamG would have been terminated already due to, like, after getting past, like, 100,000 subs. That would have been sad, bro. We're not gonna miss this guy if that happened.
Straight up disgusting. This reality is what makes the name Gene1515 stand out. A man who didn't just fall in love with a fictional character, but ended up marrying a Twilight Sparkle plushie and doing a lot more than that.
Hey, another sub! Thanks a lot, you guys.
There isn't much known about Gene's early life, who I will be calling Matt throughout this video. All we have are a few journals he posted on his DeviantArt account in which he occasionally mentions small details about his past. However, it isn't difficult to imagine what his early life might have been like, considering his current state. My guess would be that he was an introverted teenager who struggled to make friends at school, possibly combined with problems at home. These eventually led him to become
another guy who has autism. Autism, like, does not excuse you for, like, praying to kids or attracted to kids or animals. That's a thing, you guys.
One of the many people who grew deeply attached to the My Little Pony franchise, and he would seek comfort in on.
Thank God I'm not a brony that I used to be when I was, like, in 3rd grade. If I was a brony right now, I would have got called out a lot as Dan Sobel did.
Online communities, specifically My Little Pony groups. Regarding his family, there is absolutely no information online. Not because Matt is careful about what he shares, in fact, he is not careful at all, as
what the... let's just take a moment of silence. And I have 3 words. What the fuck? Don't tell me he made a hole from the plushie and stick his power pole in. This image right here, chat, proves that he is a pedophile. I mean, the zoophile. Sorry, I've been exposing a lot of pedophiles lately. Like, maybe over 20 of them this year.
We will see later, but likely because his relationship with his family became distant. We don't know this for sure, but according to Matt, he spends most of his time either with his wife Twilight or with friends. He even usually spends all it.
Oh no, another brony. No. Let me die, Chad. Let me die. No.
Days like Christmas with friends
Please
instead of
kill
family.
me.
In one of his many posts during a Q&A where he answers the question about the most memorable events in his life, he recalls a bad memory in which he almost died of pneumonia, an illness affecting the lungs that makes it hard to breathe. He says that while he was waiting for the ambulance, all he could think about were the regrets he had regarding the quote-unquote stupid things he had done and all the things he wished he had done differently. I'm no psychologist and I might be interpreting this incorrectly, but it seems like he may be expressing regret about the friction between him and his family. This distance from his family also seems to be connected to.
He's depressed as fuck. Like I said, depression or autism does not excuse you for everything. For anything. Here's what I mean, chat. I'm just trying to be in the right chat. Where's my lock?
His financial and health struggles. Matt has a long list of illnesses that have classified him as disabled, making him eligible for welfare money. Among these, we have Grady's disease, lung problems, and stomach issues. The thing is, many of these conditions could have been significantly mitigated if Matt hadn't engaged in such poor and unhealthy lifestyle choices. Matt's breathing problems can be associated to a drug addiction he mentioned in one of his journals. Although I wasn't able to confirm exactly what substances he used, there are several photos of his Twilight plush next to what appears to be a bong or smoking pipe. The health issues regarding his belly could be linked to the fact that Matt enjoys drinking urine and possibly eating literal shit, something.
What? Oh. Dude. That's disgusting. That is disgusting, bro.
That the furry fandom calls a scat.
It would have been crazy if he just made fictional cheese pizza. Cheese pizza would have been a lot worse.
Having this in consideration, it's no surprise that Matt's parents didn't want to support a son who spends all day gooning with a My Little Pony plushie, playing with his own shit, and blowing all his money on drugs.
What the fuck? This is disgusting.
So Matt was forced to latch onto a friend's house in his mid to late 20s, likely after being kicked out of his parents' house. Again, I don't really know for sure if his parents kicked him out of the house. Matt just mentions in one of his journals that since around 2012, which would make him about 27 years old, he was staying in a spare bedroom in his friend's apartment. In that same post, Matt also mentions that his financial situation isn't exactly the best. In fact, he was completely broke and his only source of income, besides his welfare money, was his student loans and grants. Now, even though student loans definitely aren't enough for someone to pay rent, food and medication, considering Matt was living rent-free in his friend's apartment, I find it very hard to believe that all of Matt's money went to food and meds and still wasn't enough. That is because Matt is terrible at managing money, and he spends all of his monthly income on the most stupid and unnecessary shit you can imagine, like the centipede arcade machine that he commissioned to be specifically the size of his Twilight plushie, or all the Twilight Sparkle merch he bought for his wife, or
Yo, I didn't know he's obsessed with that character.
the enormous collection of toys he bought so he and his wife.
Why? Just fucking why? Why would he ever do all this? Tell me right here, right now, bro.
Bought for his wife, or the enormous collection of toys he bought so he and his wife Twilight Sparkle.
Is that a dildo? Bro. It's a good thing I didn't do some embarrassing shit like that. Why does my player keep fucking doing this, bro? It's been like this for a while, guys. I apologize for that.
Could have some special time when they were alone. Honestly, I don't know about you, but I feel like this Twilight Sparkle plushie is just using poor Matt to buy her stuff. What a gold digger. Obviously, all of this shit Matt buys and labels as being for his plushie wife is just stuff he wants for himself. He has a huge collection of retro consoles, retro video games, and My Little... He has...
Sorry, guys. I hate when my screen does that on a YouTube video player. I kind of like this TV, though. Brings back memories. What the f... Bro.
Has a huge collection of retro consoles, retro video games, and My Little Pony merch, all of which seem to be really expensive, stuff that someone who supposedly struggles financially every month absolutely should not have. A big portion of Matt's money would also...
What the... Oh jeez, I am so sorry, chat.
Special time when they were alone. Honestly, I don't know about you.
It's been like this for a while now. Hold on, I'll be right back. Sorry I have to pause this for a moment, chat. This player is a pain in the ass to deal with. My parents' Wi-Fi was completely trash. I ain't gonna lie.
Like this Twilight Sparkle plushie is just using poor Matt to buy her stuff. What a gold digger. Obviously, all of this shit Matt buys and labels as being for his plushie wife is just stuff he wants for himself. He has a huge collection of retro consoles, retro video games, and My Little Pony merch, all of which seem to be really expensive, stuff that someone who supposedly struggles financially every month absolutely should not have. A big portion of Matt's money would also go toward plushies, but not to cuddle with at night, but to fulfill his disgusting fantasies. In a now-deleted journal from 2018, he explains the origins of his bizarre romantic attraction to stuffed animals. I'm not going into full detail because some of the things he wrote about are genuinely sick, but basically his obsession with plushies started way back in 1998 when he was around and stumbled onto a furry website where people shared pictures of themselves having intimate moments with stuffed animals. On this website, young Matt discovered what a strategically placed hole is. And for those confused just
for the quick pause, chat, he needs to touch grass. Seriously, he really needs to touch grass. Get a fucking life and get a fucking girlfriend. I'll be right back. Alright guys, so I'm back. Again. I had to get my cooler fan just to hook back in. Because of my video player being so crap. Sometimes I think my parents' Wi-Fi is crap, so...
a strategically placed hole is a hole someone cuts in.
What the fuck? Bro. This guy is a zoophile, bro. This guy is realistically a zoophile, bro.
To a plushie to fulfill their needs easier. This discovery triggered a long-term obsession for Matt, so much so that according to his own journal he still owns a German Shepherd plush he got at 13, and he admits he still uses it every now and then, if you know what I mean. I just hope he washes that thing regularly, because at this point that plushie is probably emitting more radiation than the entire Chernobyl exclusion zone, and the same can be said about his wife. Matt's obsession and fantasy is one thing that most people would try to hide from the public eye. However, Matt does the quite opposite. He very much makes sure to let everyone know that.
And he posted it in the internet, and there's no going back. It's up here forever because of himself.
He is dating a Twilight Sparkle plushie, and I'm not just talking about him posting stuff together online, as Matt would go in public places with his wife quite often. like museums, restaurants, and even his college. He would also go out with some of his brony friends who also dated My Little Pony plushies, and of course they would bring their plushie wives out in the public just like Matt. There is even one instance where Matt went to celebrate Twilight's birthday at a public restaurant, and I can only
Bro, she ain't real. It's just like a fictional fucking character.
imagine how confused the staff must have been seeing three grown men sitting at the table singing happy birthday to a My Little Pony toy.
Yo, these guys are delusional, bro. They're delusional. Bro.
Despite Matt documenting almost every aspect of his peculiar life online, he somehow managed to fly under the radar for quite some time, which makes one wonder when and how did his infamy finally begin. And for that, we gotta go back to the day that Matt found, or should I say bought, his wife. The day is May 29th, 2012, and the deviant...
It all started like 14 years ago? Closely? Bruh. This guy's cooked.
art user called Karazu Nezumi has
I don't know it all started in my time.
just made a post about a handmade Twilight Sparkle plush they finished. Nezumi made the post with the intention of selling the plush, but she definitely didn't expect that so many people would show interest in the comments, making money offers left and right. So eventually, she decided to put the plush on eBay and let people fight for it in an auction. The auction went on for 2 whole
Oh my god, bro. What kind of sicko wanted to buy, like, a sex version of Twilight that this Jin guy made? So disgusting, bro.
days, and in the end the plush was sold for a whopping $429 to a user by the name of Jin1515, who we also know as Matt. The original eBay listing is sadly no longer available, but Matt did leave a comment under Nezumi's DeviantArt post advertising the purchase. Best Twilight plush ever. It took every penny I had and some I had to borrow, but she's mine and I will be sure to give her a good home, and post excessive pictures of her doing various fun activities.
Hey, thanks for, like, 200 gems, NFN 0026. I really appreciate that. Thanks for the 200 gems, chat.
Once she arrives lol, to which Nezumi innocently replied, completely unaware that the plush was about to go through hell and worse in the filthy hands of Matt. After the plush finally arrived at Matt's home, he kept his promise and started posting countless pictures of the two of them together. One of the web
I'm not attracted to horses, chat. Hell nah. Hell to the nah, chat. Hell to the nah, bro.
sites where he posted the most was a forum
This guy's
called
so
Red
fucking
Light
bad.
Ponyville, a My Little Pony site used
Yo, mother... Chat. This guy's delusional. This guy needs mental health. He is delusional as fuck, bro.
for adult roleplay. As you can guess from the description,
Yo, kids are gonna be clicking on this, bro. Nobody gives a shit if you're making this shit for, like, people over 18 or not. Still pretty fucking gross. Trying to have sex with ponies like that. So fucked up.
of the forum alone, the things Matt posted there were nowhere near family friendly. Although he did also post some, I guess you could call them normal pictures where he was just doing random activities with his plushy wife, he also made plenty of posts about his personal life as someone who claimed to be married to the quote-unquote real Twilight Sparkle. His dedication to posting on that website earned him quite a lot of respect there, probably from people with the exact same mental problems he had. Eventually, he even climbed the ranks and became a moderator on the forum, and keep this information in mind because it will be important later on. As time went by, Matt grew more and more attached to his wife. In his eyes, he wasn't dating a My Little Pony toy. In his eyes, he was dating the real Twilight Sparkle, the one from the show.
Hey, how
This
come you
unhealthy
wanna be,
obsession made him extremely
mod
toxic and
bunch, bro?
hostile toward anyone online who in Matt's mind didn't give Twilight the respect she deserved. And this is where we get one of the moments that really blew up Matt's name on the internet. The infamous message he sent on Deviant.
He is a zoophile, guys. Just having more mucus relief gum, guys. Trying to get a mucus out from clearing my throat so much during the stream.
Art to the NSFW artist Kevin Sano. Kevin Sano was known for drawing adult fan art of My Little Pony characters, including Twilight Sparkle, mostly in very explicit ways.
That is sick. That is sick.
And Matt, being fully convinced he was married to the real Twilight, saw this as literal disrespect toward his fictional wife. So he decided to reach out to Kevin Sano on DeviantArt to politely ask him to stop drawing Twilight in those degrading ways. Dear Kevin Sano, this may be the strangest message you will ever receive, but I do hope you will take the time to read it and consider what I have to say. To put it simply, I would really appreciate if the next time your birthday comes around, you would request that your club artist friends who like to give you oriented pony art as gifts, draw some pony other than Twilight Sparkle for you. The reason I ask this is that Twilight is my fiancé, and we are planning on getting married next June or July should everything go as planned financially speaking. And yes, I have actually found a wedding couple that will let me marry someone that most people would consider a fictional character. Now, before you go thinking this guy is either completely crazy or just screwing with me, please hear me out on this. You see, I'm totally head over heels in love with Twilight Sparkle. I have been for about 11 months now, and at this point I'm in a committed relationship with my Twily. By that, I mean I don't date anyone else, I don't sleep with anyone else, and I have zero interest in having any kind of relationship with anyone other than the mare I adore. I love her with all my heart, and I'm 100% committed to that love. To express my love in a real tangible way, I have a beautiful handmade custom Twilight Sparkle plushie that I can hug, kiss, cuddle up in bed to go to sleep with at night, and take out on the town to do all the fun things together that normal couples do. I take her out to eat at nice vegetarian restaurants, we go shopping together, I take her out for coffee, we do social activities together like hanging out with friends, seeing movies, etc. And I talk about her as if she is Twilight, because to me, she very much is. When I look at her, I see Twilight Sparkle. When I talk with her, I'm talking to Twilight. When I hold her in my arms and kiss her, there are no doubts in my mind that it's the mare I love whose lips are pressed against mine. And every morning when I open my eyes and see her head on the pillow next to mine, with her gorgeous violet eyes staring back at me, I can't help but wonder how I ever got to be so lucky as to have a partner as smart, funny, beautiful, and all around wonderful as her. Now, you're probably wondering why I'm telling you all of this and how it concerns you. To you, I'm sure Twilight Sparkle is just a cartoon character you think is really hot. So, I imagine you wouldn't think anything of having your friends draw explicit art of her as birthday gifts for you. And hey, I think she's really attractive too, so I get where you're coming from there. I often go on sites like e621.net and Rule34 to see what new...
I guess Austin wasn't the one who was yapping and making a full-length sentence that wastes your fucking time.
Art people have drawn of her, but to me she's more than a cartoon character who's really attractive. She's my fiancée who I love with all my heart and soon to be my wife. So it's been bothering me lately every time I go on those sites and see a dozen or so pieces of art people have drawn depicting my girl in various situations with the same person over and over, and that person happens to be you. This occurrence wouldn't be the last time that Matt went after someone for making explicit Twilight fan art he didn't approve of. In April 2015, Matt launched the full-on witch hunt campaign against a user named Mr. Nameless on the Red Light Ponyville forum. Why, you ask? Because the guy commissioned someone to draw a picture of Twilight performing oral sex.
I am so done with people being, like, childish and weirdos. Hopefully 2026 will be better, guys. 2026 will be, like, 2 days away. It's the end of 2025.
Matt forged fake messages from the user to make it look like he was posting hate speech, and because Matt was a staff member on the forum and had a lot of respect from the other members on the site, people believed him, and Mr. Nameless ended up getting perma-banned. A few days later, an admin finally figured out what had really happened and issued a public post banning Matt for harassing an innocent guy who just wanted to goon to Twilight Sparkle in peace. After that, Matt and a couple of his friends decided to leave and move to another My Little Pony adult roleplay forum called Los Pegasus. This forum, however, was basically dead with barely any users and barely any activity, though Matt and his friends claimed they were going to revive it. Spoiler alert, they didn't. The rules on this new forum were hilariously biased toward Matt's personal tastes, meaning that users couldn't say anything even slightly negative about him or Twilight. He even banned someone for mentioning an episode of My Little Pony where, according to the user, Twilight was acting selfish. Sadly, the website is lost to time, and what remains of it are just a few screenshots and broken links I managed to recover from the
broke a cut.
Wayback Machine. From those screenshots, we can see some of the threads users could interact with, including a notorious one called Twilight's Club, which was allegedly a private thread where Matt and his closest friends would share real-life pictures of themselves engaging in, questionable activities with their My Little Pony plushies and body pillows. The access to this thread, however, was basically limited to Matt, his friends, and a handful of other users. But some of the images Matt shared on the thread eventually surfaced online, and they are truly disgusting. As for Los Pegasus, the forum quickly died out, with members leaving and Matt himself posting less and less. Not just there, but across pretty much every My Little Pony space he used to be active in. Eventually, he stopped posting on those My Little Pony forums altogether, probably because his obsession with My Little Pony was finally fading. He moved over to Twitter instead, and is...
I know why. Due to the backlash you received. But there's no escaping backlash for this guy. No.
Shifted drastically. The man who was once devoted to a fictional pony from a kids show was now obsessed with diapers, eating shit, and stuffed dog plushies. It's unclear exactly when or how it happened, but somewhere between 2018 and...
Yo! I called it, he is a pedophile and a zoophile at the same time, so this character might be a minor. A puppy.
In 2019, Matt found the new love of his life, which made his relationship with Twilight even more unstable. As his My Little Pony obsession faded day by day, his new fixation became a small dog named Rocky from the toddler show Paw Patrol, and Matt wasted no time by...
Yo, you guys ruining our childhoods? You sick. That is sick. Really sick, bro. Very sick.
A Rocky plush so he could express his love for the new character he was now obsessed with. He made countless tweets describing the interactions he had with his Rocky plush, most of which ended with the plush covered in shit. And even though Rocky was his main
Why? Why? Why are you doing this, bro? Why?
Partner in these, activities, it would just as often involve basically any other stuff.
Okay, I'm glad his dick wasn't showing because of YouTube guidelines.
Animally owned,
Oh my
most of
God.
which were dog plushies, and may I add, very expensive ones. Naturally, people on Twitter started insulting him on many of his posts, in which Matt would respond by blocking, which honestly is probably the best course of action to take. His disgusting activities with his plushes wouldn't be the only thing that made him controversial on the platform. There
I ain't
were
trusting this
several
motherfucker.
events that eventually pushed Matt to delete his own Twitter account because of the amount of harassment he was receiving. The first major incident that alarmed
Don't forget the backlash he received, guys.
a lot of people was when Matt adopted a small German Shepherd puppy, which he named Carl. You can probably guess why people were worried. Matt had openly admitted on Twitter that he had intercourse with stuffed dogs, many
What
of
the
which looked
fuck?
like German Shepherds.
That is sick. That is fucking sick. Somebody look him up. Somebody look him up and help that dog, please. What a zoophile, bro. He is such a Dan Sober wannabe.
So naturally, the question on everyone's mind was whether he had adopted the dog to further satisfy his disgusting fantasies. The concern was understandable, and as much as I hate the idea of someone like Matt adopting a dog, it did actually seem like Matt was taking good care of Carl. The dog looked genuinely happy, and to this day there is zero evidence whatsoever that Matt ever abused him. The next major thing that put Matt on the radar of angry Twitter users were some posts he made about George Floyd's death back in 2020. And honestly, this time I do think the harassment he got was pretty unfair. The tweets Matt made shouldn't be controversial at all. He mentioned that some people were looting stores during the riots, which is actually true, and he said that not all cops are bad people. Also true. But here's the thing, if your entire Twitter account is all about you shitting and pissing in diapers, why are you suddenly out here giving political opinions? The people who agree with you will be way too embarrassed to publicly take the side of the furry diaper lover, and the people who don't agree with you will have zero hesitation in going after you for all the humiliating stuff you have already posted. The third and final thing that really pushed Matt into deleting his Twitter account was a leaked WhatsApp conversation.
Oh, my mom got home, so this is why he shut down the last stream, so yeah.
He had with another furry user. That same person he was talking to ended up leaking the messages, and they revealed one of Matt's biggest secrets. In these messages, Matt admits that he finds the uniforms worn by German generals in World War II sexy. Basically, he had a fetish for people wearing Nazi uniforms. Now,
Please, let this chaos end. Please and thank you.
yeah, it's a bizarre thing to be into, but as long as you're not supporting the ideology behind it, it's not inherently harmful. But the problem is, Matt did not choose the best words to explain himself in those messages, like, at all. You are now the second person today to tell me that finding uniform sexy is a slippery slope, and it just pisses me off. Like, just cause I find a particular article of clothing to be attractive, people think I'm gonna join some alt-right white nationalist group and start voting Republican? That is just ridiculous. Maybe it's still some of that teenage angst hanging on after all these years. The more someone tells me I'm not allowed to do something, the more inclined I am to do it. Which is stupid, but I think that's on my...
Sorry guys, I was texting Ma that I gotta be watching my dog for like a couple of minutes, so that would be a great time to stream even more.
Brain works when put under social pressure. If everyone tells me to go left, I'm usually gonna go right just out of spite. So you jumped off the bridge because none of your friends did? Not to that extreme, but when everyone around me is supporting Black Lives Matter, it does kinda make me wanna go blow a nut. XD. Once the screenshot spread, Matt tried to do some damage control, but there wasn't much he could say to fix the situation, and Matt's time to log off Twitter finally came. So, what is our beloved furry friend up to nowadays? Well, pretty much the same stuff he has always been doing. He moved over to Blue Sky, where he continues posting the same kind of content he used to dump on Twitter, just to a smaller audience, with the slight difference that he now seems to be using AI for some of his not safe for work videos. Yes, he's still into diapers, yes, he's still obsessed with Paw Patrol and dog plushes, and yes, he is still a complete degenerate, and honestly, that will probably never change. These days, Matt mostly keeps stuff to himself. His posts get very little engagement, and most of the people who used to follow him have already moved on. But he hasn't changed his lifestyle, his habits, or his bizarre interests at all. If anything, he's just doing it more quietly now. And although Matt has probably divorced his plushy Twilight Sparkle for some random Paw Patrol plush, for me, he will always be remembered as the man who married the My Little Pony plushie.
Oh, thank God it's the end. I gotta go, guys.